Today, we're going to look at 3 signs that you are experiencing relationship trauma. Relationship trauma occurs when you have been in a relationship where there has been narcissistic abuse, physical abuse, or you have suddenly discovered that your spouse is cheating on you, or they declare that they've never loved you and that they are going to leave you. And this suddenly happens, you gain this awareness. Now, there are some things that there's something that all of these situations have in common, and it is the reason why it impacts you in a traumatic way. Today, we are going to talk about this. I want to give you a better understanding, show you 3 different ways, talk to you about 3 different ways that can be showing up in your life that may be causing you to feel like you're just crazy or like something is going on with you, that you are absolutely losing your mind. And once you understand what's really going on, I think this will help you to feel like it's perfectly normal to be responding in the way that you are, that it will kind of connect some dots for you about what is going on so that you can feel like you can actually recover from this. If you're new here, I hope that you will introduce yourself, say hi, tell me a little bit about yourself, what your experience is with relationship trauma. My name is Tanya Cordenbrock. I am an emotional wholeness coach where I help women at arenewedlife.com to be able to break free from the damages that their past has caused them in their lives, to be able to love themselves, to feel loved by others, and to have a deeper relationship with God. And I hope right now that you will go ahead and subscribe and check out the free resource that I have for you that goes along with this teaching. As we begin, let's take a look at what relationship trauma is. Now, as I said in the introduction, whether you have experienced narcissistic abuse, physical abuse, a spouse cheating on you, discovering that they're using pornography, or that they have suddenly just told you they don't love you, they're leaving you, what these things have in common is that they mess with your mind, and the reality that you thought was going on, that you felt like was predictable, that you knew what was going to happen and how life was, that it suddenly just flips that around. And so that you don't know what's going on. You don't know what reality is anymore. And it causes you to question yourself, to question whether you know what is going on and what seems like truth to you. Is it really the truth? Are things really the way that they seem? The things that you have believed existed in your relationship, did they really exist or not? And the things that you thought that you knew, that you even thought you remembered, in a certain way, especially if you've had narcissistic abuse, that is really going to play with that part of you that, with your memory, because a lot of times narcissists will even challenge your memory, that and emotional abuse. They will say that the way that you are remembering something is inaccurate. And these things cause you to feel like you're crazy and that you do not have a good grasp of reality. Now, another thing that this does to you then, when this trauma occurs, when there's this rupture in reality for you, it puts you in that fight, flight, or freeze way of functioning, so that you are on high alert all the time. When there's continual abuse, or if it has been especially traumatic, then it can cause you to get stuck in that fight, flight, or freeze zone so that you continue to have these PTSD-like symptoms in your life. And so that is what I'm going to explain now. I'm going to explain 3 very common symptoms that women will have when they've been in a traumatic relationship. The first symptom is that your mind can't stop. You are just continually thinking, and reviewing the past and what happened, rehearsing it, going over it and over it and over it. Or you are looking at the future of what you're going to say to this person, how you can say it the right way, how you can calm them, how you can get them to love you, how you can get them to see you, how you can get them to understand you, how you can get them to understand the impact of their actions, and finally have the light turn on inside of them. But your mind just keeps going and going and going and going. Just like that, the commercials about the ever ready battery, that it just does not turn off. And again, this is a symptom that is a direct result of being stuck in that fight, flight, or freeze zone. And when your mind is going and going, really what it is that you're trying to do is gain some semblance of control. Like you want to be able to make sense of the past and what has happened, to be able to put all the puzzle pieces together so that not that this can really happen, but it's an attempt to put all the puzzle pieces together so you can have a clear picture of what it looks like, so that hopefully in the future you can avoid this happening again. And hopefully, because what you are trying to tell yourself is, I know what it looks like now. And so I will know when it's coming. I can prepare myself. I can make sure that I avoid this happening in the future because I've already seen it in the past. It's an unrealistic belief for the most part, but when you're stuck in the fight, flight, or freeze zone, your mind keeps doing that. It keeps grabbing for this sense of control so that you can have a feeling of safety and comfort within yourself. So, there's nothing wrong with this. It's completely normal. And when this is one major thing that helps us to feel at ease in life is when we can know what reality is and we can know what is predictable, because then we can calmly move out into life and feel that we are safe. So your mind might be racing in order to try to create that calmness for yourself, even though as your mind races, it's really a sign of anxiety and increases that anxiety. So a second symptom then of relationship trauma is that you have high anxiety all the time. You cannot relax. When you lay down to relax, then your mind just keeps going and going. You can't get any sleep because your mind won't shut off. And even when you are involved in things, you're mindlessly doing things such as driving, then your mind is going to shift back into that same place of trying to figure things out. And because you have this heightened sense of anxiety also, you're going to startle easily. So if someone comes up behind you and starts talking, kind of, appears sort of out of nowhere and starts talking, then you could jump because you startle so easily because you're in this constant state of anxiety. And then your body is going to feel the impact of that. You're going to have tension all throughout your body. And this in turn can also influence how you move, and can cause accidents because you're so stressed. Can also cause digestive issues and illnesses. Now, the third and the last symptom we are going to talk about today that can oftentimes come along with a traumatic relationship is something that happens that I am always surprised that when I come across it, that the person doesn't recognize that it's connected to the trauma they're experiencing in the relationship. And what that is panic attacks. It's as I said, I'm always surprised because people tend to think that panic attacks come from nowhere, and like they have just suddenly dropped on you from out of the sky. But panic attacks are very much related to overwhelm in general with life. And so when you are in a traumatic relationship, you definitely are in a place of overwhelm. You are in a place of constantly seeking safety, of constantly trying to, if this is your marriage, then you're constantly trying to restore the love or gain the love of this person. And it's like a hamster on a hamster wheel that just keeps going and going and going and doesn't get anywhere. So then when you go to do something that would seem as simple as going to the grocery, it's just too much. And especially when you consider all of the stimuli that are present in a grocery store, or if you're out on the expressway and you have cars coming toward you rapidly, you have cars passing you, you have all of the different choices that you have to make in order to try to keep yourself safe and to get to where you want to go. At the grocery store, you have the different colors, you have all of the sound. It's very noisy at a grocery store, isn't it? But all of this and the choices that you have to make. When you've been making choices every moment in your relationship and trying to get things back on track and trying to keep yourself safe, trying to restore love and peace in your relationship, then having to make another choice of which type of ketchup to purchase is just too much. And at least it feels like it is too much. So if you are having panic attacks, then I hope that you will consider that this is one of the symptoms of what is going on in your relationship. Now, in my online Mastering Emotions program, where I have worked with women, I find that they tend to minimize the impact that their traumatic relationship has had on them. And they see it as a hurt that occurred, that they're glad it's over, they wish it never occurred, or they wish they could figure out how to get out of it, depending on where they are in that story. But they tend to kind of put it in a box, like this was that thing that happened, and they don't normally see the general impact that it has had over them, the impact that it has had over how they view themselves, how they handle the uncertainties of life, how they handle decision making in their everyday life, how they handle other relationships. So when you've had a traumatic relationship, it is going to impact all of that. And it is definitely going to keep you in that fight, flight, or freeze zone until you can get healing to those places that have been so wounded and have been shocked, basically, into believing that life cannot be predictable, that you can't ever be safe, that you can't depend on people, and that you can't even know yourself. This is what trauma does to you. So I hope that this has been helpful for you. Let me know if it has. If you would like some more help, I would love for you to check out my Mastering Emotions program. It's always open for new members to come in, and I teach you how to change the impact of these past wounds upon you. And as I said earlier, I do have a free resource for you, and this is going to help you with those panic attacks to be able to get them under control. So I hope you'll check that out, and please share this with others so that they can know that they're not crazy and that what's going on with them is to be expected, and there is hope for healing.